G. Willikers here, and welcome back to the Holy Land. There are some places in the world where history feels distant, and there are other places where it seems to whisper from every stone. As we follow this quiet pathway beneath the trees of the Custodia Terra Sanctae toward the Church of the Primacy of St. Peter, the modern world begins to fade away. The sounds of traffic disappear behind us. In their place come birdsong, the rustling of leaves, and the gentle breeze drifting across the Sea of Galilee. Pilgrimage has always begun this way, not simply by arriving at a destination, but by slowing our pace, by quieting our minds, by preparing our hearts. Almost 2,000 years ago, another group of travelers walked this very shoreline. They were not tourists, they were fishermen, men whose lives had been shattered by the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and then transformed by the astonishing news that he was alive. Still uncertain what lay ahead, they returned to the only work they had ever known. They climbed into their fishing boat and spent the night casting their nets across these very waters. Morning came, and they had caught nothing. Then from the shoreline, a voice called out to them, "Cast the net on the other side of the boat." They obeyed. And suddenly the net was so full of fish that they could scarcely haul it aboard. In that instant, John recognized him. "It is the Lord." Peter did not wait for the boat to reach land. Peter threw himself into the water and hurried toward the one he loved. This quiet beach became the setting for one of the most beautiful encounters in all of Scripture. The church before us stands on ground Christians have honored for more than 16 centuries. Although the present building was completed by the Franciscans in 1933, it rests upon the foundations of churches built centuries earlier, preserving a tradition that reaches back to the earliest generations of Christian pilgrims. Its architecture is almost intentionally humble. There are no soaring towers demanding attention, no glittering ornament competing with the landscape. Built from the same dark volcanic basalt that surrounds the Sea of Galilee, the church seems to belong here as though it has quietly grown out of the hillside itself. Its beauty lies in its simplicity, because this place is not meant to impress us. It is meant to prepare us. Inside, our attention is immediately drawn beneath the altar. There rests a large limestone rock known throughout the Christian world as the Mensa Christi, the table of Christ. According to ancient tradition, this is where Jesus prepared breakfast for his disciples after they came ashore. St. John gives us a detail so wonderfully human that it almost escapes notice. When they landed, he writes, they saw a charcoal fire there with fish on it and some bread. A charcoal fire, fish, bread. The risen Son of God had breakfast waiting, and this was after conquering death itself. Jesus' first recorded act in Galilee was not to perform another miracle, not to rebuke his disciples, not to remind them of their failures. Instead, he fed them. The Lord of heaven served breakfast to weary fishermen. What extraordinary tenderness. Whether this stone beneath the altar is the exact rock upon which that fire burned is something archaeology cannot finally answer. But what it represents is beyond question. Christ meets his people where they are, not only in magnificent cathedrals, but beside ordinary lakes, around ordinary meals, in the quiet places of everyday life. Then came the conversation that gives this church its name. When breakfast was finished, Jesus turned toward Simon Peter. One can almost imagine Peter lowering his eyes. Only days earlier he had denied even knowing his master 3 times. Perhaps Peter expected correction. Perhaps he expected disappointment. Instead, Jesus asked only one question. Simon, son of Jonah, do you love me? 3 times the question was asked. 3 times Peter answered. And after each answer came a commission. Feed my lambs. Tend my sheep. Feed my sheep. Notice what Jesus did not do. He never humiliated Peter. He never reopened the wounds of the past simply to make him suffer again. He transformed failure into calling. The 3 denials were answered by 3 opportunities to declare love. Forgiveness became purpose. Weakness became strength. The fisherman became a shepherd. How comforting it is to realize that God does not define us by our worst moments. Peter's greatest failure did not become the final chapter of his life. God's mercy wrote another ending. Perhaps he is waiting to do the same for each of us. Now we step once more into the sunlight. Only a few steps from the church, the Sea of Galilee stretches quietly before us. Gentle waves lap against the shore. The hills rise softly beyond the water. Birds circle overhead. It is remarkably easy to imagine fishing boats moving across this lake, just as they did 2,000 years ago. Time seems to stand still here. Somewhere upon these waters, the disciples struggled through the darkness. Somewhere along this shoreline, Jesus waited in the dawn. Somewhere nearby, Peter emerged, dripping from the sea, to find his risen Lord waiting beside a simple charcoal fire. And perhaps that is why pilgrims continue to come here from every corner of the world, not merely to see an ancient church, not simply to stand where history happened, but to remember that the risen Christ still waits for his people, still calls them by name, still prepares a place for them, still asks the question that echoes through every generation: do you love me? Our answer might be imperfect. Peter's was. Our faith may falter. Peter's did. Yet the grace of Christ remains greater than our failures. As we leave this holy place, may we carry with us the lesson of this quiet shore. The same Lord who welcomed Peter still welcomes us. The same Lord who forgave Peter still forgives us. And the same Lord who gave Peter a new beginning still offers new beginnings today.